The 49ers Report is presented to you by Manscaped. You can get 20% off and free shipping on the best men's grooming products by going to manscaped.com/49ers, the same men's grooming products that your San Francisco 49ers use. Really excited to get to this segment here on the 49ers Report. I am Chase Sr. Here's what we're breaking down on today's show. We're going to take a look at 5 players who are guaranteed to generate hype during this upcoming training camp. And I want to start with a very, very clear option for me. That is the quarterback who the Niners selected at number 3 in the NFL draft, in Trey Lance. I am so high on this prospect for a variety of reasons, and I think he has the ability and the potential to really wow this coaching staff in training camp as well as the preseason, just like he did heading into the 2021 NFL draft. I understand that he didn't really play that much at North Dakota State, only one full season, but while he was there, he possessed qualities that the Tom Brady's of the world do. He commanded the huddle, which isn't easy to do. He was able to make pre- and post-snap reads, which is veteran stuff. He audibled at the line, which is what Hall of Fame quarterbacks do. He took the most snaps under center of any quarterback prospect in the draft class of 2021. And so far, throughout rookie OTAs as well as minicamp, he has been getting some rave reviews. So I think Trey Lance has the potential to really wow people in training camp in a couple of weeks once the 49ers report coming up here at the end of July. I'm all in on Trey Lance. The hype train, I think, is certainly real. And when reporters are there, we'll, of course, bring in the latest updates here on the 49ers report. All eyes are going to be on Trey. They're going to be docking every single throw. They're going to be monitoring his movement, his accuracy, any changes that he made with his mechanics. And while people are watching Trey Lance at 6'4", 6'5", 225 pounds, a guy who's a physically imposing athlete at the quarterback position who at North Dakota State was able to throw the football and run the football, those athletic traits are going to wow people. This guy has the potential to be a generational player. He can rip it. He can sling it. He's got nice touch on his deep ball. He can pull it down and run it as well. And all of the work that he's been putting in this offseason, working with guys like Quincy Avery, teaming up with Deebo Samuel and Mohamed Sanu, it's impressive. Also, he's taken it upon himself to improve his body. And I understand that people were dragging Trey Lance on Twitter all week because they thought he was wearing a bra. What he's rocking right there, it is not, in fact, a bra. It's a GPS tracking monitor which compiles a bunch of sports science data to track his movement and his heart rate, to see how he's doing physically and handling his respective workload. And honestly, he looks big, he looks cut, he looks primed to generate a lot of hype in training camp. So what do you think is the likelihood that Trey Lance starts week 1 ahead of Jimmy Garoppolo? Type L if you think it's likely, type D for doubtful. Get those votes in the comment section. The hype train moves on with Nick Bosa. He's coming off that torn ACL. I think he's primed for a double-digit sack season, and a lot of eyes are going to be on him to see how he's coming back from that ACL. A lot of videos have surfaced of him putting in work during the offseason. The knee looks good. The explosiveness is there. He's expected to be healthy for training camp, and people are going to be reminded again here this summer of the physical specimen that Nick Bosa is. His impact and him being out of the lineup last year was really contagious. The defensive line wasn't the same. The linebacking core, even though you still had Fred Warner and Azeez Al-Shahir, was impacted at that second level. Most importantly, though, that secondary at times was torched because without Nick Bosa, that defensive line wasn't generating the same pass rush and pressure on opposing quarterbacks. You go back to his numbers in 2019. For a rookie, number 2 overall pick, to step into the league and have this level of production for a Super Bowl team is pretty ridiculous. 47 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 9 sacks as a rookie. That's better than what Chase Young did last year, and 2 forced fumbles. I thought what Joe Staley had to say last week about Nick Bosa continuously getting held in the Super Bowl when the 49ers lost that game against the Chiefs was real. He wasn't getting those flags because he was a rookie, but I think in year 3, Nick Bosa is going to have a rebound season, and those Pro Football Focus grades grades from that rookie year were up there with some of the best edge rushers in the NFL. Overall grade of 86.7. Against the run, 77.6. It's rare for a guy to be an even better pass rusher at 81.5 for his grading. That's how good Nick Bosa is. So predict it for me. Is Nick Bosa going to notch double-digit sacks in 2021? I think he's going to be a 10-sack guy. His over-under set at 9.5. Type Y for yes or type N for no. Get those votes in right now. So Nick Bosa is elite at forcing opposing quarterbacks to get the ball out of their hands. I'm telling you, if you use Manscaped, you won't be able to get your own balls out of your hands because using the brand new Lawnmower 4.0, your balls will be in prime condition and you won't be scary hairy for your lady. 20% off and free shipping thanks to our friends at Manscaped, the presenting sponsor of today's show. If you use that link at the bottom of your screen, it's manscaped.com/49ers. The Lawnmower 4.0, battery life that lasts an eternity. 4 interchangeable blades, so you can use it downstairs, on your chest, on your back, on your beard, on your hair, whatever you decide to do. There's a light so that you can see what you're doing in the nether region. But honestly, I had to change the blade up and get some neck hairs last week. That light, it took me right to the promised land. I was able to knick-knack, paddywhack all those hairs. So once again, manscaped.com/49ers. You get 20% off and free shipping on the best men's grooming products. That link is in the description as well as the comment section of this video. I am hoping, I am praying that this is the year that Jalen Hurd is finally going to be able to stay healthy. And because of that status with his injuries, I think there's going to be a lot of hype around Jalen Hurd in training camp. Has not appeared in a regular season game just yet, but when he played in that first preseason game against the Cowboys a couple years ago, you saw why the Niners selected him in the 3rd round of that draft. He's physically imposing. And why I think the hype train is big on Jalen Hurd, the wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 spots are going to be fascinating and intriguing during training camp. They're up for grabs. And if Jalen Hurd is able to stay healthy, I think he's going to be able to claim that wide receiver 3 spot. I hope that's the case because this guy is a physical monster at the wide receiver spot. Former 3rd round pick, as I talked about. A big reason why he's elite at picking up yards after the catch and why he's so physical. Started his college career at Tennessee as a running back, goes to Baylor, changes up to wide receiver, and starts balling out. His preseason debut against the Cowboys as a rookie. He caught 2 touchdown passes. And if he's able to stay on the field and be healthy for the first time in his young career, this is a great addition and really a perfect wide receiver to join forces with Deebo Samuel as well as Brandon Ayuk. So all eyes are going to be on Hurd to see how he's coming off that knee injury. He had a stress fracture in his back as a rookie. Can't wait to see if he lives up to expectations. 2 more guys we want to get to. Javon Kinlaw. It was certainly an eventful offseason for him, and I want to have some fun breaking down Javon Kinlaw. I mean, you're looking at a guy who's hunting down squirrels and putting dead squirrels in his mouth. That tells me he's primed and he ain't scared to pin his ears back and get after the opposing quarterback. Also, he's rocking an icy gold grill, so he's got that swagger to him, and I want him dancing in the backfield. And you know that saying out there, you look good, you feel good. Speaking of feeling good, Javon Kinlaw grew up in the D.C., Maryland area, homeless. What did he do this offseason with some of that NFL money? Bought his first house that he's ever had in his life. Didn't even have electricity in his crib growing up. That's going to be the opposite this year. I talk about the squirrels. Maybe the only time we're going to be talking about squirrels on the 49ers report. Here's what Jimmy Ward had to say about that video and that picture of Kinlaw having a dead squirrel in his mouth because he's just a ruthless guy. Looks like he's wild out there in the jungle, in the woods. I don't know where. South Carolina? I just need him to be that same wild man on the field, and I know he will be. Here's what Kinlaw had to say about some squirrel hunting. I was just doing a little hunting. That was it. That's what I do all the time. I just decided to put it on the gram, which I shouldn't have. He shouldn't have apologized for hunting squirrels because cancel culture sucks and we should cancel culture. Javon Kinlaw as a rookie, being that 1st round pick. I thought he was good last year. The production was just okay. He was hampered and slowed down because of a knee injury, which he did get that operated on during the offseason. 33 tackles, 4 quarterback hits, 1.5 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. I think those numbers are going to be much better this year. And if you've kept it locked here on the 49ers Report, I listed Javon Kinlaw as a breakout candidate for this upcoming season, and he's definitely going to be a player who's going to be generating hype because he's fun to talk to, fun to follow, and he could be a monster on that interior defensive line. So would you eat a squirrel? I'm never scared. If you cooked up some squirrels and put it on a grill, I would honestly try squirrel meat. Would you? Type E for eat, type G for gross. Get those votes in down below. 49ers training camp is going to be getting underway in just a couple of weeks. I cannot wait for it to get here because once training camp does get here, we'll be up in our coverage and up in our game here on the Niners Report by Chat Sports, bringing you the latest news and rumors. Any training camp updates that do happen, we have you covered. Hopefully there's no breaking injury news, but if that does happen, we got you covered. We go live every single Thursday, 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. So either hit that red subscribe button down below or go to youtube.com/49ers TV. It is our goal here at Chat Sports to get the Niners Report to 40K subs by the time the Niners kick off. Let's get there. I know you can rally, Niner gang. Last player, Trey Sermon, in at number 5 for these players who are just going to be cooking up the hype and hopping on board the hype train during training camp. I can't wait to see what Trey Sermon does. And during rookie minicamp, as well as OTAs, people were raving about him. And he's got a leg up on this Niners offense because in his college days, when he was making the switch from Oklahoma to Ohio State, he was studying Kyle Shanahan's zone scheme because it was a very similar offensive scheme to what he had to master as a Buckeye. Some people thought that Trey Sermon in the 3rd round was a surprise pick. You know what that tells me, though? The Niners didn't want to pass on him. They loved him. That's why they selected him in the 3rd round, because really, they didn't need to draft a running back. They did. And I think he's going to be able to burst on the scene and prove himself because Jeff Wilson is going to be out for a long time because of that knee injury. Raheem Mostert, there's always some injury concerns there. And I think it's the best case scenario for Trey Sermon to actually get the bulk of the carries so that you can get your rookie bell cow running back snaps. Speaking of being a bell cow, wasn't necessarily that last year as a Buckeye to start the season. But really around week 5, week 6, Trey Sermon started to really compile stupid numbers, and the numbers last year were fantastic. These are his career college stats, but last year solely, he was rushing for almost 8 yards a pop, 455 carries, almost 3,000 yards, 6.5 yards per touch, 26 touchdowns throughout his career. Last year in 2020, though, 116 carries, 870 yards, had a long of 65 yards. I think he has some getaway speed to him and was able to take it to the crib a few times, which is what Tony Alford, who's the running back coach for the Niners, kind of pointed out when he broke down Sermon as a prospect. I think he's got exceptional vision and exceptional burst. Now, his top-end speed may not be what others may be. From making a decision to putting your foot in the ground and going from point A to point B, that initial burst is elite. And I think that's an elite quality for Trey Sermon. And that's why I think that during training camp, a lot of people are going to be watching him to see how he handles the workload as a rookie. But that burst is so underrated. So many times we focus on what the 40-yard dash time is. And Trey Sermon, he's a 4.4, 4.5 guy. But it's really that burst on your cuts that kind of separates you as a running back. So over under 800 yards as a rookie on the ground for Trey Sermon this year. Type O for over, type U for under. Predict it for us in the comment section. I think he's going to be right on that range. The extra game, 17-game schedule certainly helps him. Hey, let's smash that O for over.